Hi everyone, welcome to Transmit Yourself. Have you ever felt trapped between the needs of other people, as if everyone needed something from you, and as if you had the need to actually please everyone so that they are okay and you are okay? Let me tell you that you're not alone. This is a very common topic with fear of commitment, and this is actually something that I've been facing since the birth of my daughter around 2 years ago. It's something that I've been working on and have gotten a lot better with a lot of practice and self reflection. And I want to share some of those experiences with you and also some tips so that you can get better at this, so that you can feel more empowered, more relaxed around people that are in need, let's say, especially if you have a child or if you have people that do need you. And so that you can also feel less stressed and more secure and more confident in these situations. So let's start. So let me just start with a typical example of mine. Let's say that my daughter is yelling in one room. She needs something. She needs a toy, for example. And my wife is in the other room and she also needs something. She's asking me for help. So what tends to happen is that I get frozen because both people need something from me and I feel that I need to please them both at the same time. So I also feel a sense of dread or fear a little bit, as if I'm in danger, as if, for example, if I don't comply with the needs of one of them, then I will be in trouble. I'll give you another example. Let's say that I am with a friend and I'm also with my daughter, and I am trying to speak with my friend or actually trying to listen to him, but my daughter is, uh, let's say, she runs away. Then I feel also in that moment, that little freeze moment in which I want to please both people. I want to help my daughter, let's say, chase her before she runs away too far, and I also want to listen to my friend. And there's a split second there where I feel this stress and this moment of being frozen. So the overall feeling, apart from feeling frozen, is a feeling of impotence and also some frustration because I cannot do what I'm supposed to do. I cannot help both people, and the impotence is around that as well because I cannot really do much, or that's what I think at that moment. And although in at the beginning this is more like a passive behavior, in that I maybe people do not really see what's going on within me, and I'm just a little bit frozen or trying to um, solve or resolve the situation. In the long term, or after a couple of hours, this stresses me out. So this stress, what tends to happen is that after a while, I feel frustrated and angry. So I'm very sensitive to whatever, to someone asking, for example, for a favor from me. If I'm in that state again for a while, this stress, what it produces is that you don't want to feel this powerlessness anymore, and this potential sadness. So your system, your energy rises a little bit into anger so that you can defend yourself and create some type of boundary there. But it's more like an aggressive boundary, it's not a healthy one. You can easily lash out at someone or respond in a negative manner that's not necessary for that. So, how do we go about this? How do we prevent or remove this delusion in which we're actually getting deluded into the needs of other people and we're forgetting ourselves and we're also forgetting what's really important at that moment? It's as if we are being blinded by our past, by the emotions that come that create this feeling of having to please everyone. Maybe this is something that came from the past where you needed to please your brothers and sisters or your parents because otherwise you would be in trouble, or because they would get very sad or sensitive about that. And this is something that got programmed into you. So we have to do something today to change that. The situations that created that are not there anymore. They are within you, they're in your program. But the reality of today is that you can do something different. And this is what we don't know at that moment because we're acting usually subconsciously. And therefore, we repeat the patterns over and over again. So, the solution, what can we do about this? First, feel the emotions. Get into your body, get in touch with how you're actually feeling at that moment. This is very important because it creates some space between the situation, let's say the people that are um, crying or calling you and needing you, and your actual reaction in your body, your feelings. So when you do this, you set that little space and you're able to just cut out for a while, for a little moment from everything that's outside. So you go within, and that reduces the reactivity and gets you back in your power mode. You're empowering yourself by doing this. It sounds like a very silly or very simple exercise, but it is super, super powerful if you do it and if you practice. This is mindfulness 101, actually. Go back into your body and when you're getting into this stress mode. Once you've been able to do that, to go into your body, the second step is to discern, to be aware of what's really going on. Usually there's something that's more important than the other things. So you have to prioritize. And the only way to do this is if you can clearly see what's going on. So you ask yourself, who's actually needing me in this moment? If anyone. It can be that actually nobody really needs you and you just think that you are needed, that you are so important in that moment that you need to act urgently. It may be not, actually, but it might be, especially if you have a little child that has an actual need. But once you've been able to discern what's really going on and what's really the priority at that moment, you have to verbally set a boundary. So, for example, let's say that example in which my friend is talking to me and my daughter is just running away. The verbal boundary would be, please wait a moment. Sorry that I cannot listen to you right now. I have to chase my daughter, for example, and then do that exactly. Or if it's the example of my daughter yelling for something and my wife requiring or calling me for something else, then telling my wife, wait a moment, my daughter needs something right now. Let me take care of her right now and I'll get to you later. It can do wonders when you actually separate because you only have one body and you can only do something at one time. So when you don't split your energy like you would normally or like I would normally, which is trying to help everyone at the same time, then you just refocus yourself and then you take care of one thing at a time. Now, it can be that you actually have to set a boundary with your children if you have children, because in the previous examples, all the boundaries were to prioritize my child. But it can be that you actually need to set a boundary with them. And that's also very important. That's part of education. For example, if you're talking to someone else, you can tell her, wait a moment, let me finish my phrase, and then I'll listen to you. And that's also setting a boundary. Now, an extra tip here is to take care of yourself by creating some time for yourself, be it to go to the gym or to go for a walk or for a run or to meet a friend, especially if you are in a similar situation like mine where you're a beginner dad and you tend to please a lot and you tend to give your best to other people. This has been my pattern, which can be, again, beneficial for some people, but it can also be stressful. So you have to really find your balance, whereby you also put yourself first. So, especially for the first couple of years, I think it's very normal, and I hear that from many parents that they sort of disappear from the world because they're taking care of their child, and that's very understandable, especially in the first year. But even then, even there, it is important to try to find some time for yourself, even if it's just a couple of hours a week, because that will replenish your energy, that will recharge you in such a way that you will have a lot more energy for them, for your family. And you'll also feel more whole and more authentic, more yourself, because you have been creating that space not just internally, which is important, but also externally. And that's also very, very crucial. So I want to know from you, you can write down in the comments, how do the needs of others affect you and how do you go about that? And if you have similar experiences, to talk to us about that in the comments. Don't forget to like, and to subscribe, to comment, and to share with other people if you enjoyed this video. Thank you and talk to you very soon.